And last class, right, we have understood what are the requirements for vCenter installation. Okay. If you see, first we have decided all this information, name, IP address, DNS information we have got. We have to install it now. Before that, we need to create the DNS records. We will understand DNS records later. But right now, we'll log into one of the DNS machine and create the records. So in our lab, this is the DNS server, DC. Log into that machine. This is the DNS server. We have installed already a feature called DNS inside this machine. So that DNS installation, what it does, how we have to manage and all, we have a separate class for that. Okay. So during Windows Basics, we will understand at the end of the course. It just powered on, right? It's taking some time. Let it completely. So once you want to deploy a vCenter, you need to be ready with this information. You need to decide its IP address, name, and this will be common. Domain name and DNS in our lab, it's the same for any device. Okay. So that's fine. Still busy. We'll take remote control of that machine. Control is not enabled. Why it's still slow? For CPU, 4 GB RAM should be fine. So once you log in, the by default server manager will open. If not, click here, type server manager. This wizard will open. Okay, server manager. From here, go to tools. Here you can see an option called DNS. If the DNS feature is installed, then only it will display here. Okay, so we have installed DNS feature here. So select DNS. Okay. Once you click on DNS, it will open like this. So this is the DNS server manager. So click on forward lookup zone. Then you can see SVIT lab.net. That's what our domain name, SVIT lab.net. So it matches here. So double click on it. Here it will show some records. We will see the name and IP we are binding together. So here what we have decided, right? Name and IP. We have to bind this name and IP with respect to DNS records. So here in the empty space, right click, new host. Click on here. So here we have to enter that name and IP. Name is VC01. So type VC01 and it will give the full name here itself. You don't need to type the full name. So full name is vc01.svit lab.net. Okay, here if you see, vc01.svit.lab.net. That's the full name. It will automatically show the full name here. If you need to just type short name. So then IP address, we decided 192.168.1.210. Okay. So 1.210. One of the free address we have taken, and say vice versa record. The another IP, we have to create name to IP and IP to name both. So right now I'm creating name to IP and automatically selecting this option called create pointer record. So that means IP to name record also will be automatically created. Click on add host. It's slow. Okay, record created. Done. So here you can see VC01 and it's 210 IP. 210 is not matching anywhere. Somewhere here it is there. We'll delete this old one. Somebody created with wrong name. Otherwise, it will conflict when you type same IP for two machines. So right now, it is nowhere used. Okay, that's fine. Then you go to reverse lookup zone. The pointer record should display here. 210 record we have created, right? 210 VC01. Okay. So name to IP, IP to name, both records are created. That's what this second step refers here. DNS records. So it's created. A name, and we have all this information. Now we are ready to start the installation. So we have downloaded that ISO image. Using this OVA, you can deploy using the fifth method of VM deployment, right? This OVA file has operating system plus vCenter also, 6.7 vCenter also installed in it. If you deploy this OVA, we can, now using the fifth method we can do. Otherwise, there are two options. We can run the installer. Go back here, you can see UI installer. Click on it. Pin 32. Here you can see installer application. So it's a GUI based installation. It also does the same job like OVA to OVF. Okay, so where is it? Instead of you manually doing the OVA to VM, so this page will directly does the same job. Okay. Instead of it manually creating a VM inside that vCenter or host, it will automatically get. So here are four different options, very, very important. Okay, so we will use this interface 2-3 times. First time, if you want to install fresh copy of vCenter 6.7, this one, install. If you want to upgrade from older version to higher version, if you have vCenter 6.5 and if you want to upgrade to 6.7, use this option. Same data, we'll discuss. There is a separate topic about upgrade. And migrate Windows machine to Linux machine. Your vCenter is running on Windows machine and now you want to move it to a Linux machine. Along with application should be as it is copied from Windows machine to Linux machine. Directly if you copy, it will not work. You have to use this migrate option. Then only it will convert properly. Okay. And restore. If the install, let's say 6.5 only is running inside a vCenter, but application is corrupted. OS, it has two parts, right? Appliance has two parts, OS plus application. If application is corrupted, OS is fine, then we use this one, restore option. If the application related information, it will restore from fresh copy. Okay, application is corrupted, whatever it is running inside the vCenter, application is, some files are missing. If you do this one, from this fresh copy, it will replace the corrupted or failed files, so that we get a fresh proper vCenter without any missing files. So in this case, we have to select this option. We are installing fresh copy of vCenter. Select install. Okay. So it is deploy an appliance. It's clearly saying like it's a two-stage process. First stage it will deploy a virtual machine. Second stage it will configure the application. Here we have discussed, right? First phase it will create a vCenter machine. Second phase application will be configured. Same thing is displayed technically here. Click on next. Accept the license, VMware license. Next. There are two models of vCenter installation. So there are two components inside vCenter application itself, PSC and vCenter. So earlier there were two models, PSC separate, vCenter separate. Here are PSC plus vCenter together. This architecture also we will understand later. Okay, during advanced topics, this architecture we will understand what is this PSC, what is this vCenter. But anyway, this model, right, PSC, keeping PSC separate and vCenter separate is deprecated. You can see here. That means this process is not available anymore. We will not use in the future. So we use only one method. So vCenter and PSC, both components will be part of one machine itself. We'll discuss later. As of now, just click on next. Here, appliance deployment target, where you are creating this vCenter. So from our laptop, I'm running the ISO and I want to put it in this ESXi. ESXi IP address is 240. So that's what I have to give here. So where you are putting that vCenter 192.168.1.240. On this machine, I'm going to create my vCenter. If you see here, there is no machine called VC01 as of now. But once I run this next step and all, it will automatically create a machine called VC01 here. That's what it does, right? Like OVA to VM. So I'm selecting 140. Username is the root and it's ESX password. If you have another vCenter, you can deploy in another vCenter also. Instead of host directly, we can put in another vCenter also. Certificate verification, that's fine. Always say yes here. It is trying to reach that ESXi now. That's connected. Here, what is the VM name you want? It's VC01, right? I'll name it as VC01. Root password. I'll use the standard, our lab password, Windows 123 @ W capsulator. I'll share you this password anyway again. Next. Okay. So I think 2 steps. Yeah. Here, after giving that root password, so the different sizes of vCenter, tiny, small, medium, large, extra large. So it mainly you need to check here how many hosts you can manage. If you select any, maximum 10 ESXi host only you can manage within this vCenter. Even though it supports maximum 2000, if you select a 10, the inventory will be enough for 10 hosts only. So depends on your future usage, how many hosts you may manage in this vCenter. You have to select small, medium, whatever. So somebody was asking last week from like real time. One guy was working from 1 year. He wanted to understand. Once you proceed with this, you don't know like what is the vCenter type, whether it was a tiny, small, which one you selected. That's what how to know my vCenter is a tiny or small or medium. After proceeding to next step, we can't understand what type of vCenter it is, tiny, small and all. Okay, ఈ నెక్స్ట్ వెళ్ళిపోయిన తర్వాత ఫినిష్ చేసిన తర్వాత మనం తెలుసుకోలేము అది టెనీలో బిల్ చేశారా, స్మాల్ చేశారా, మీడియం చేశారా. సో వన్ ఆఫ్ ద స్టూడెంట్ వాజ్ ఆస్కింగ్ హౌ టు ఐడెంటిఫై. సో డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ CPUs and RAM on this vCenter, you can understand. If you go to this virtual machine, let's say this is also our vCenter. If I want to understand whether it was small, tiny and all, I'll go to edit settings. 2 CPUs, 10 GB RAM. Now, if you see here, 2 CPU, 10 GB RAM, where it is matching tiny. So it's a tiny one, which we have deployed earlier. So based on this specification, you can identify whether it was small or medium. Okay, so I told him like to check what is the RAM and CPU on top of it. Then you can identify. Clear? Next, for us in our lab, 10 is enough. 10 hosts we maximum manage 100 VMs. If you want, you can select medium, whatever it is. But it will take more RAM and CPU from the ESXi host. And I want to make it thin provision. We will discuss what is thin and thick later. So this is the hard disk. I want to place it. Here is very, very important thing. If you do any mistake here, we cannot revert. It is connected to VM network, that's fine. There are 2 types of IP addresses. Select IPv4 only for now. We will discuss about the IPv4 and IPv6 later during networking basics. It should be static only. We are assigning manually. If you select DHCP, automatically it will collect that information. So we don't want to do automatic. We have to do it manually. In real time also, vCenter configuration, it's manual. What is the name of the vCenter? FQDM. That's what we have created DNS records, and this is FQDM. vc01.svitlab.net. So that we have to enter here. vc01.svitlab.net. Before you enter this name, that DNS record should be created. Otherwise, it will not work. So that's the reason. First step itself, we have created the DNS records. Okay, name and IP binding. IP address. Now we have to enter IP address. 210. Subnet /24. That was subnet mask 24. Just 24. We'll discuss what is that subnet mask later. Gateways 192.168.1.1. DNS server. Here we have the IP address. Okay, where we have created the DNS records. That machine IP 192.168.1.150. In this machine, we have created this DNS records. Name and IP binding we have created in this machine. And these are the ports used for vCenter. Remember, if someone asks what are the port numbers used for vCenter, these are the two. We will discuss what are the ports. Okay, what does it mean? What is this number? At least you remember this number. vCenter works on 443 and 80. Okay. Next, summary of the information. So almost we are completing stage 1 now. Click on finish. It's stage 1 is going on, deploying vCenter appliance on the target ESXi host. If you see here, vCenter install VM deployment will automatically start. You see here, import vApp is going on. So instead of we manually downloading it from here, right? Manually importing from OVA, we are running from this installer. This will do the job. So it will use this OVA only automatically. Yeah. So from the installer, it will take this OVA file and it will deploy a virtual machine here. Here you can see VC01 is creating. Okay, machine name called VC01 is in progress. It's importing. It will take some time. It's a first stage. Second stage, once it is done, then second stage it will ask for application configuration. If anyone has any question as of now, we can ask me now. If someone joined late, so we are deploying the vCenter. Okay, we are installing vCenter from the ISO image. Fresh copy of vCenter we are installing. This process, okay, what we discussed in the last class from the ISO installation. Same thing, we are in the first stage is going on. We have just completed till now and it's deploying an appliance. Appliance is nothing but it will have OS and application together. It's called an appliance. vCenter is one virtual machine will be automatically creating from this installer. Questions? In real time also the same process, but you will not get chance mostly. Okay. So, but in interviews commonly, common interview question people will be asking, how will you upgrade a vCenter? How will you install? Have you ever installed vCenter? But in day-to-day job, you will not get chance. But try to practice. How many number of times you want, you can practice here only. In the vCenter, in the ESXi host, we can see the machine is powered on. You can see its monitor now. It's installing some packages. It's a Linux machine with vCenter installed, vCenter application also installed in it. That machine monitor which we are deploying, right? That machine monitor we are checking. In the ESXi host where it's almost done. But again, it will install patch couple of times. Since RPM is nothing but patches or packages inside a Linux machine. It's trying to install all the required patches. It has a Linux OS called Photon. Photon OS is installed and the application also will be installed.
Is it possible to migrate one vCenter to another vCenter? All the
Yes.
VMs.
Yes, it's possible to migrate.
What is the difference between import and export? Between import and its migration.
So it's a type of migration only. So that's an alternate method that we use here. If you see, okay, import and export means nothing but a virtual machine will be exported as OVA to a common location. From there, we will be importing. So that means overall, if you see, this VM is moving from this vCenter to this vCenter. So this is also we call it as migration only, but we use export and import option, one of the option or one of the method inside migration. There are multiple ways. Use P2V converter. P2V from this vCenter to this vCenter, we can migrate using a converter tool. Or manually, we export here, copy this file and import it here. You migrated this VM from here to here, right? So that's one of the method inside the migrations. There are other professional conversion migration tools available like HCX. Okay, so even thousands of tools are there. Double take, Carbonite, multiple migration tools are there. This is one method.
Okay.
Anyway, overall, if you see, this VM is migrating from this vCenter to this vCenter by using a method called export here, copy here, then import again. So this same virtual machine is moved from here to here. So that's one of the method. Is it possible to clone a VM from one vCenter to another vCenter? Anyone? Okay, good. But ILO version 2.8 is wrong. Rest all the information is correct. ILO, you're looking at firmware version here. Like 2.8 is the firmware version. ILO 4 is the latest version. I'm not sure 5 is there or not, but ILO latest version 5 is there. Yeah, 5 is the latest version, and you are looking at 2.08 is firmware. It's a driver version. It's not ILO version. ILO is this one, ILO 5. Okay, and ID rack 9, that should be correct. But anyway, we'll check. And it's very long time. ID rack 7 is there. 9 also should be there. Yeah, 9 is there. Okay, 9 also is there. That's correct. CIMC, there is no version. It is just a firmware version. 4.2 is the driver version. Firmware or driver, will discuss what is that later. Okay. ILO 5 is the latest. ILO ID rack 9 is the latest. Only two versions. Thanks, Pranay. It's almost ready. In the vCenter, you should see like this. IP address that we have provided 192.168.1.210. Name vc01.svit.lab.net. Okay, it's almost ready. Just 2 to 3 minutes, it will be completed. Here also it will show 100%. But these stages are important, stage 1 and stage 2. So during upgrade also they will ask how what is the process to install, or how will you upgrade vCenter. Then you have to explain it. Like stage 1 it will deploy the appliance, stage 2 it will configure the application. Simply we have to say. So whatever you are learning here, be confident with that information. So sometimes they will ask, are you sure and all. So whatever the basics you know, you stick with that basic. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So we got some error. So we have to manually access this page. For that, in my laptop, I have to add one line. That's why it's showing as failed. Because I'm not using the DNS configuration in my laptop. That's 210 and VC01. So it will work now. Okay. So you have to copy this name and open another tab again. Otherwise, if that line was added before this completing, so completing this stage, it will directly open. So that's fine. Close. Yes. And here we have to open that page now. Continue. Open that page. This 5480 is called WAMI page, appliance management. Okay. So here again, the same four options: application level installation, upgradation, migrate from Windows to Linux, and restore. So we want to install fresh application, right? So application configuration, select this. Root password, the one we have entered during the appliance installation. So Windows 123 at the rate wcapsule. Okay. Application we are configuring stage 2. Next, it will retrieve automatically the network address that we have entered right during the stage 1. Name correct, IP address correct, subnet mask, gateway, DNS server, and you want to sync time with the ESXi. Yes, that's fine. Enable SSH. This we want to enable it for remote access. Okay. We'll discuss what is this SSH later. Next, all good. Click on next. So now here is the important one, application configuration. So here we have, it will create automatically one local domain. It's called local domain. So to log into this vCenter, we need a username and password. So this will be by default. It's called local domain also. What is the default local domain for vCenter? vSphere.local. Okay, is the default name. If you want to change, we can change also. We'll leave default. Windows 123 at the rate Windows 123. This is new password. I'm giving the same password, so we will not forget. Okay. Now, when you are logging to this vCenter, you need to log in administrator at the rate of vSphere.local. That will be the username, and this is the password to log into this application. Next. It's saying like asking customer experience improvement program. Do you want to involve in that? If I say yes, via internet, all the settings will be sent to VMware from our vCenter. So, and if there is any mistake, like we are not following any best practices, VMware will send an email. You are not following best practices. Your settings are like this. You have to change another. So that's fine. We don't want to send that information to VMware. Okay, I will say next. I don't want to participate in that program. So this is a summary of the option that we have selected. Once you click finish, we cannot stop it. We have to wait until that is finished. It will say once you start, you cannot stop it. You have to complete. You have to start from again from first step what we have done. That's fine. Okay. Now it will proceed. So this will take again 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. Application stage 2. Application configuration is in progress. Once this is done, our vCenter will be ready. We can access our vCenter as it is with a name or IP address. Whatever the name that we have entered. With this name and IP address, we can access our vCenter. So during this process, anywhere we have not installed any voice, we have not installed even any application. We have just given whatever the name and network address and password. That's it. Name, network address, and password only we have given even during the 2 stages. So once you do, this will automatically will have a vCenter Linux operating system called Photon plus vCenter application 6.7. Together, our vCenter will be ready. For that, there should be one ESXi machine at least to install our vCenter. First ESXi should be ready, then vCenter installation. Then add this ESXi host into the vCenter. That will be a later part. So any other questions in the second stage? So anywhere, like we did not install any VM, okay, automatically it created a VM, VC01 here. Okay, we ran from this installer, from the interface, we have given the information, it is automatically created a VM and application also installed in it. Okay, so any appliance, similar, but maybe this kind of interface will not be there, but similar process only. OS and application also configured in it. Appliance, OS plus application installed in this one. But before that, we should be ready with the name, IP address, and DNS records created. vCenter installation is completed. Second stage is also completed. So it's asking like if you want to continue with vCenter login, click on this. So vc01.svitlab.net. Click on this link. So this is outdated one, vSphere web client. Now we use HTML5 client. Click on that. It will ask for username and password. What is the username now? We have to enter. No. Root is the OS login. Administrator. Yeah, at vSphere.local. This is the application login. Root is the OS login. Okay. So then password is same for both. So Windows 1, 2, 3 at the rate. We have deployed a fresh vCenter and we logged into it. As of now, nothing is there because we have not added, right? We just created this fresh vCenter. So tomorrow we'll understand these all tabs and then we'll add one host also. Then we will discuss further. Okay. So vCenter installation, you should be good and able to do now. Yeah. Any questions? Okay. The vCenter, it will have a lot of tabs.